Hey, good morning. It is October 16th. It's 10:30 a.m. It's that time again for daily Bitcoin and cryptocurrency news. Today we have some news. We're going to talk about Fidelity. We're going to talk about a few other things that's going on in the Bitcoin world. But really, I'm going to dedicate most of today's time to debunk VeChain's FUD that a lot of people are still asking about. I've been telling people, do your own homework on VeChain. There's nothing to worry about, although there's just one influencer that keeps talking bad shit about it and people are concerned. So I'm going to debunk all the FUD that's around VeChain, or at least the ones that's been spoken of, and then you guys can decide for yourself. I'm not here to shill it, all right? If you guys are interested, then pay attention. If you're not, ignore it, but always do your homework on any coin that you're interested in buying and investing and holding. Because it's ultimately your money, right? So you have to do your own homework. All right, so thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, smash up the likes and subscribe to the channel. If you're new, you're in for a treat. And some of you guys are new for the, that hasn't been joining the live session. You have, welcome. And of course, Mike is number one, but we do have the new number two, Federico. So if he's around by the end of this, he gets to ask a question, or he can ask one now. So, if you guys don't know, the second person that joins the chat, the second, not the first, will always be able to ask a question, and I'll try to answer. But I answer a lot more than just one question. All right. So, we'll give a few minutes for people to tune in, and then we'll get started. Ricky, I did talk to Cheryl. There's a lot. Thanks for the introduction. I do have a lot that I have to plan for to get a conference going. So a lot of people doing a lot of conferences now. All of a sudden, I know Crypto Crow is doing one. Even Tone Vay is trying to do one, or some kind of poker thing. So I'm gonna try to. I have to put my head down and really see if I want to do this and where and when. So a lot of stuff to plan out. All right, guys. All right, you guys ready? You guys ready? Let's do this. Before I get to VeChain FUD or debunking it, let's talk about the market, right? The market that actually is coming back up. Yesterday, obviously, a lot to do with Tether, and that fiasco is not over. Tether, there is still a premium on Tether. If you look on Binance or Bitfinex, it's still about $300 more than where it should be. So if you look at something like, on Coinbase, Bitcoin is 64.44, and if you look at BTC on Bitfinex, you'll see 67.26. So if you actually look at Bitfinex chart, because they're inflated due to Tether, they're actually trading above this descending wedge or triangle, or they were and then came back down. So it's interesting depending on which chart you look at, but overall BTC is going up. It's going up, right? We're going past this, and I don't see why anyone could refute that. A lot of people seem to think once we hit here, we're going like crater down here. A lot of people have been asking Tones, when 5K, when 3K. Now he's kind of softening that stand. He's like, well, we're not going to see 3K until we see 5K. And I don't know if when we're going to break 6K. So he's starting to get a little wishy-washy about that, and people are getting on his case about his trade, which almost got liquidated. I've been saying, he had no skin in the game this whole time where he was being bearish and telling people to sell. I don't know how much Bitcoin he had, but he didn't trade at all. So if that's the case, I don't. You're just paper trading, right? So it doesn't even mean anything. So this is coming, guys. The bull market is coming. It's so obvious. You don't have to be a TA guy. I'm not a TA guy, right? And there's a lot of stuff that's been spreading around. And I caught part of Tone's live session this morning where he was answering questions. He's like, whales don't exist. Institutional investors are not coming in. This and that. Okay, well, why would someone, just think about this, why would someone like Fidelity, and then we also heard about TD Ameritrade, we also heard, or we know of ICE with Backed, And we heard of BlackRock partnering up with Coinbase. Why would any of these companies that hold trillions of dollars, we're talking about the largest financial companies in the world, okay? Fidelity that controls 7.2 trillions in asset for other large institutional investors. Why would they open up a crypto exchange, advisory service, custodial service, if no institutional investors was interested in cryptos? Just think about that. How does that make any sense at all? We have seen, okay, and this whole notion about there's no whales, everything is according to TA. Come on. We have seen massive pumps and dumps, and we have seen transactions where people move 10,000 Bitcoin, 30,000 Bitcoin at once. Those are not whales. Those are guys that are extremely rich, okay? Extremely rich. Now, there's different varying levels of richness, but you know, when you have like BitMEX and stuff like that, that gives you 100 leverage, you don't have to have a lot of money to put a lot of down pressure or up pressure if you wanted to, right? So just look at the fundamentals, right? I talked about this. I tweeted this out and talked about it in my insider newsletter yesterday. This is a big deal. A lot of people don't realize this is almost as big as Backed, because they're not coming out of Bitcoin futures, granted, okay? But Fidelity, come on, one of the largest asset managers in the world, and they're opening up advisory services for institutional investors, crypto trading, basically an exchange for institutional investors, and custody service where they're go hold it for them, right? So this is huge, okay? Along with everything else I just said, the fundamentals of the market just keeps getting better and better and better and better. So I just don't see how you could stay a bear, okay, much longer, long term. Like if you're one of those guys that think, oh, TA is showing that it's Bitcoin's gonna go down 3,000. I mean, come on, look at all this. How can you ignore all this? The influx of money that's gonna come in is gonna be so massive, right? The remaining 3 months of the year and in 2019. It's going to be so massive. How can you stay a bear? It just makes no sense. Sure, there'll be up and downs. If you want to be a short-term trader, swing trader, sure, okay, that will always happen. But long-term, you know, what I'm focused on and what you guys should be focused on is long-term. If you want to build life-changing wealth, you buy the good coins and you hold, and you have a strategy around that, right? So this is very, very good for the market. Obviously, the market is still going up. We're waiting. This can't be delayed. Once this breaks out and we hold above and we start moving up, that's when we enter bull country and really good things are going to come. All right. So what else is there? So I talked about Tether. There's still about a $300 premium. So whatever. I don't know why. It's like, you know, you figure by now that you could do withdrawals, you can deposit withdrawals and stuff like that, but there's still this premium, so it's unknown why. So there arbitrage opportunities. I mentioned about that yesterday. Like Bitfinex is probably not feeling too good right now. Even Binance, because Binance also the same thing. You have a lot of arbitrage things that's going on right now. So maybe that's the reason why, but I can't really figure out why there's still this premium, because deposits and withdrawals are all open now, and with the other stable coins and obviously with exchanges with fiat, this should have been shut down by now. So that's still ongoing. So we'll see what happens. Now, this all started because rumors about Bitfinex being insolvent or becoming insolvent soon. So, and mostly because they have no banking partners. And all of a sudden they decided that they're going to reveal some new distributed banking solution where you basically tell them what you want to deposit, and then you wait a few days, and then they go tell you like where to wire the money, right? So it sounds like they probably got like 5 or 6 different banks and they just go like shift around them and stuff. But it just seems like this whole thing is built, you know, it's like a house of cards. This whole banking situation with them is going to collapse. They're asking for more KYC documents, which a lot of people don't like to begin with. But still, it just seems like their banking woes keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I tweeted CZ yesterday, Binance, if you look at the rich list for Tether, Binance has over 800 million, okay, in USDT. They are by far the largest. holders of USDT. So CZ of Binance should do something, right? He should look at the bank accounts or something. I know he's trying to build out other exchanges with fiat and so forth, right? Introducing like a few, well, at least TUSD. He has introduced other stable coins, but you know he has to be careful. And so, and same thing with the other exchanges. I don't think he has 800 million of cash on hand to cover if Tether goes belly up all of a sudden. So. This is why I've been saying for you guys for all along, you know, I don't trust stable coins as nearly as much as fiat. If you have an exchange where you can trade out to fiat, definitely utilize that. All right, so moving on. Coinbase news. Coinbase news, of course, Brexit, that's coming. So Coinbase wants to take opportunity. People don't, you know, they want more stability in cryptos rather than, you know, their dollar, the British pound, or, you know, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. There's inflation, deflation. I don't know what's going to happen when they break off from the EU, right? But Coinbase wants to make sure that they're ahead of it. So they go open their office in Ireland. So good for Coinbase, right? And this is funny. Someone on Reddit posted this, how somehow there's this, you know, FUD, you know, this is weird. This is attacking Bitcoin. So there's this thing, cryptocurrencies use more energies than all the world's electric vehicles. This almost is like the smoking ads, right? It's ads to like tell you how bad something is and why you should stay away from it. But look at this. It's promoted by American Express. I think that's really funny. That's really funny. That kind of shows you that they're kind of in the hot seat, right? They're not liking all this alternative payments with cryptocurrencies, and people are not using American Express as much. Or in the future, they're gonna be afraid of that. So I just found that to be funny. That was pretty funny. All right. Before I get to my whole spiel about VeChain, let me see if you guys have any questions real quick, because this whole spiel is going to take a long time. I see there's a lot of VeChain FUDers already in the chat. You guys should just wait. You know, if you're blankly you don't like VeChain, right? That's one thing. All right, just leave the chat. But I won't tolerate people that just spreading false rumors or just talking shit and stuff like that, right? So I'm going to be answering everything that Chico Crypto brought up, and all of it was nonsense. So I'm going to be talking about that pretty soon. What do you think Ripple will do? Ripple will do a lot. XRapid is a big thing. A lot of people still don't get it. Ripple likes to be, a lot of people like to pick on Ripple, just like they like to pick on Tron and EOS, and now it seems like people want to pick on VeChain, and it's nonsense. If you look at what Ripple is trying to do, same thing with Tron, what Tron is trying to do, what EOS is trying to do, they have problems, but no one's perfect, but they're trying to do a lot. Ripple is definitely a good one. All right. Yeah, and I'll talk about Neo for a bit. All right, so let's get started here. So, and this relates too, because this is obviously a facetious post, but someone put in Reddit, expose VeChain lies are reaching new heights. President Z is now in on the scam. Okay, obviously this is a joke and people got it, okay? And this is talking about how the president of, not president, CEO of DNGVL, they are actually going to some summit where to go meet President Z. And DNGVL is the biggest partner of VeChain, right? And they're a huge partner. All right, so let's get started. So there's a lot of stuff that Chico Crypto, or I'm going to refer to him as Tyler. It's easier to say. Tyler, I know he's passionate, but he's just spewing out a lot of shit recently and attacking everyone. He has not attacked me. I think we have mutual respect. So we'll see what happens after I release this video. I know he's passionate. If he doesn't like VeChain, fine. If he wants to bring up facts, fine. But everything that he said in his original video about 2 weeks ago was false. And if he comes up with something that is truly damaging to VeChain, okay, come out with it and prove it. Like he has another video about this association with Cream and how they were shillers of Walton Chain, and then they started spreading FUD about Walton Chain, and then they started joining VeChain and started saying good things about VeChain. All right, that's more interesting. If you can have hard proof about something like that, okay, talk about that. But even then, does that mean that VeChain is a scam? No. And did VeChain know about this past histories? I don't know. But, you know, okay, bring up stuff like that. Now, let's start with what he talks about. First, he makes a comparison that VeChain is like EOS, that the 101 nodes is going to collude with each other because the authority nodes is going to make more tokens, right, through the rewards, and they're going to use that tokens to leverage their power and vote each other in and stay in power. And somehow he wasn't aware of the fact that VeChain has 2 tokens just like Neo. He made a comparison to Neo, how Neo has gas, right? Gas is used for transactions, and Neo is used for staking, right? And voting. Well, guess what? VeChain has the same. VeChain has VET. VET is used for staking. If you want to do authority node or any other nodes, right? You have to have VET staked in. And is also used for voting. Now, VTHO, which is VThor token, okay, this is the second token, is used for transactions. And as a staker, you get VThor tokens. You don't get VET. So same deal with authority nodes. They get VThor tokens, not VET. So this whole premise how they're like EOS and they're not like Neo, that's nonsense. It's actually set up exactly the same way. The token economy is kind of set up the same way as Neo, and you'll see when Binance releases their letters about distribution, they'll say we distributed gas, we distributed ONG, and we distributed VTHO. So that's the first FUD that was spread, that somehow this token economy is not as good as Neo's, right? And the authority node holders will get more rich because they're going to get more reward in VET. That's not true. Now, whether or not they collude, I don't know, okay? But I'll talk about colluding because a lot of these proof of stake, you know, delegated proof of stake, proof of authority, even, you know, delegated Byzantine fault tolerance with Neo, right? There is a possibility of collusion. There's always a possibility that the rich can start up different nodes and stuff like that, right? But it's not exclusive to VeChain, and it's definitely not any better with Neo, because I'll tell you what, VeChain at least has 101 authority nodes planned. Guess how many Neo has? Neo has 7 consensus nodes. Only 7. Much less than 23 EOS has, and much less than 101 VeChain plans to have. And you know what? Who controls all 7? Okay? At least 6 of them is controlled by the Neo Foundation. And one of them, only one of the 7, is controlled by City of Zion. And City of Zion, right, is a partner of Neo's. They've done a lot. They're basically open source. They're a group of developers. And I'm not saying anything bad about them, nor am I saying they don't deserve one. However, this was supposed to be a vote, right? That people with Neo was supposed to vote who was going to be a consensus node holder. Well, the vote didn't happen. City of Zion was just rewarded a node from Neo. And so people are wondering, so what's the point of the vote? Are there actually going to be any elections that's really going to vote in any new consensus nodes? We don't know. So if you want to talk about collusion, Neo probably is more guilty of that than VeChain, all right? Because they control basically all 7 of the nodes that's running on their network. And 7 is not a lot. And we have seen over this past year where one node had a problem, the entire network have shut down, right? So that's a coding issue they need to solve. So don't get me started about VeChain and collusion and how the system with authority nodes is worse than Neo. It is not, okay? So that's FUD number 1. Number 2, this relationship with DNGGL is false. It's paid for. It's meaningless, blah, blah, blah. That is all false. First of all, who is DNVGL? They're out of Norway. They do a lot with certification, classifications of boats and so forth, but they're really in a lot of other things, okay? So almost 15,000 employees, 350 offices in 100 countries, okay? With basically they're in maritime, renewable energy, oil, gas, electrification, food, beverage, healthcare, basically everything you can think of, they're in. They have their hands in a lot of stuff. They make over 19 billion in profits, okay, or revenue, I should say. They are a large company. So, do you think a company like this would fake a partnership, would allow VeChain to pay them a little bit of money and say, "Oh, we're partners"? Do you think a company like this would really do it? I think not. And I think a lot of people don't realize this. DNVGL is actually an investor and part owner of VeChain. This is not a PR. This is off DNGVL's webpage. They own a stake in VeChain, so that's how serious they are. And this is the reason why this partnership is huge. DNVGL is involved with so many things, and because of stake and partnership with them is why you see VeChain now getting deals like this. PICC, one of the largest insurers in the world with 126 billion total assets. They are partnering up with VeChain and DNVGL. And it clearly states it was introduced by DNVGL. And it's in their best interest to promote VeChain because they are part owners of them. All right. And that's not all. There's other things. The China's National Research Consulting Center, which deals a lot with tobacco, trying to stop counterfeiting and so forth. This is also because of the partnership with DNVGL. So this whole notion that this partnership with DNVGL is false or it's meaningless and all this stuff, that is complete nonsense. This partnership is huge. This is as big as Stellar partnering up with IBM. This is how big it is. IBM is carrying Stellar because IBM is so involved with blockchain and all these enterprise space. Enterprise companies, and everyone that wants to deal with IBM, they're going to get a shot. Stellar's going to get a shot at them. This is the same thing. DNVGL is involved with a lot of countries, a lot of things, and every partnership VeChain has made so far, if you look at the revenue, these are large companies with billions of revenue. And that's not all. Okay, who else owns VeChain? Well, PwC, one of the largest auditing firms in the world, one of the top 4, is also part owner of VeChain. All right, so these two have a stake in the game. Okay, they want to see VeChain succeed, and these two companies are not small, no-name companies. These are huge companies, leaders of the industry. Right. So in terms of partnerships, VeChain has it. So don't get me started about all this stuff that they do is nonsense. That is nonsense, okay? They actually have a lot going for them. Now, that's number 2. Number 3, in terms of their consensus or authority nodes, and somehow it's not known at this time. Well, it still takes time. They have a vetting process, so they're going through it. Well, they have number 1. DNVGL obviously has another. PwC doesn't have the third one or the second one that Tyler alluded to, but I'll tell you who does. It's this company, Fahrenheit, and not a lot of people heard of them. I'll admit I didn't hear of them before either. So what do? Are they just another shit project? Well, the base solution for automotive industry. Well, big deal. So where do they go do, right? They go provide blockchain for automobiles, right? We have seen IOTA and other people do that, right? They have been awarded an authority node, but why is this a big deal? Why am I talking about this? It's because this project is founded by Joe Lee. And who the hell is Joe Lee? Okay, he is the founder of Kuaidi, the largest car-hailing service platform in the world and in China. This is the company that Uber got driven out of China because of this company. So Joe Lee, he is one of the co-founders of Kuaidi Group. All right, and moving on. So I'll show you Kuaidi Group, which is a huge company alone. They got $725 million in funding, and then they got acquired by Didi. Okay, and then Didi was the one that crushed Uber. Uber spent billions upon billions upon billions to dominate China, and they couldn't. They lost to Didi. So that is how significant this is. So Joe Lee is not a dumb guy. He's a very successful guy. And why this is significant is because they're building this on top of VeChain. And they're also authority node. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to come up with use cases for blockchain, specifically on VeChain, to help monitor cars. It could be fares, it could be maintenance, it could be a whole bunch of stuff. So this is also coming to Neo. All right. So again, this whole thing about not knowing authority nodes and so forth, it's gonna come. VeChain already announced that they're gonna announce all of them. It's just that they haven't selected all of them yet. But you know that just based on the first two alone, these are two big companies. Lastly, and this is just stupid. Do I have VeChain's site up? Okay, so lastly, Tyler made this dumb mistake where he was trying to bring up Bin, the chief blockchain dev's LinkedIn page. Well, you could see there's no LinkedIn icon here. He's the only one that doesn't have it. So instead, he pulled up Chin's LinkedIn page and then said, oh, this guy doesn't have any blockchain experience. So why is he a chief blockchain dev? Well, wrong guy, okay? Wrong guy. Not a lot of Chinese people, especially in China, use LinkedIn. A lot of crypto companies are now forced to use LinkedIn because the Western world does, and now they have profiles and so forth. But not everyone in China or Asia uses LinkedIn. But regardless of that, you look at the experience like Sunny and everyone else, they're very experienced, especially Sunny, who is the CEO, and you would want to know, right? Is he a capable CEO? Yeah, he was infrastructure manager of 3M. Then he became IT manager at Bacardi. Then he became a director of Louis Vuitton, right? And that's the history behind VeChain. They were first introduced as an anti-counterfeit measure. Okay, that's utilizing blockchain for things like luxury purses, but they obviously have grown way beyond that. They're trying to tackle a much larger market. It's still early, not saying that they're dominating the industry yet, but in terms of blockchain supply chain space, they are the leaders by far. Okay, and this other thing that Tyler mentioned about, well, he shifts the arguments like, well, if you look at Ethereum versus VeChain, Ethereum has been around for years, and Ethereum will figure out scaling. And once Ethereum figures out scaling, then there's no use for VeChain. Well, that argument, if that was true, then there's no use case for Neo or Ontology or Elastos or even Cardano or Tron or IOTA, right? But let's just throw that out the window because we know Ethereum is going to take some time to scale. And even if they do, there's still different niches. Ethereum is more a dApp maker, okay? VeChain is more of just supply chain. Even though there might be dApps, they're concentrated on a supply chain space where Ethereum is more broad-based, okay? There's no... And this whole notion about VeChain is too new. Just so you guys know, VeChain came out of a company out of China called BitC. And BitC was founded in 2013. This was started before Ethereum project even took place. And this started even before Onchain and Antshare started with Neo. So the experience level of these guys is actually one of the best in the industry. It's just that not a lot of people have heard of them. And out of the original team, okay, you got DJ, who's a CEO, Jay Zhang, Sunny Liu, Neo Mahai, and Patrick Dai. And guess what? Sunny Liu was a COO, and he is now the CEO of VeChain because VeChain idea, the premise was started ready in BitC. And guess what else? Patrick Dai, if you guys know, is the CEO of Qtum, which is another very successful project. I'm not a big fan of it, but they are up there. So you already got two, and then you got DJ now, who has started Fusion, which I've talked about a lot. And one of the reasons why I like Fusion, because this team is very specialized for blockchain, and they have the experience level. They've been doing this for years, okay? So they're not a new company that just came out in 2017. No, this has been in development since 2013, and they have the experience level to be able to execute. And VeChain's team is huge, 50 plus members. Don't let this distract you thinking, oh, there's only 10 members. No, there's 50 plus members that they don't show on here, right? And that's pretty much it. Okay, so like I said, if Tyler wants to come out with some hard concrete proof about VeChain being a shit project, shit coin, prove it. Don't come out with a video listing 5 or 6 different things that are all entirely false. Okay, and for you guys that are either interested or not interested, whether you like it or you don't, okay, do your own homework, right? I've been telling you guys that forever, but now I feel like I have to because everyone keeps asking about this. This won't go away. It's like people, just believe what is being told of them, and that shouldn't be the case. All right. So that's it, guys. That's debunking every single FUD that was spread about VeChain, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get why people believe in it because they're all false. Now, this doesn't mean that other projects aren't good. And here's the thing too. I always take this stand. A lot of people always, especially bag holders, always wants to show one project over the other, saying, whether or not, Ripple's go dominate the industry, or EOS go dominate, or Cardano's go dominate. Sure, there might be dominant players, but that doesn't mean only one will survive. The world is a big place. There's going to be a lot of companies that survive, okay? And just because Neo survives doesn't mean that, say VeChain will go away, or the same thing, if Neo survives, that Ethereum will go away, right? There's a lot of players. A lot of them will be very successful. Granted, it is very early. We know that there's hardly any dApps anywhere, okay? It's going to take time for that to all come to play and for people to use it and companies use it and so forth. It's going to take time, okay? But still, that doesn't mean that just one coin or one project is going to survive. There's many, right? All right. So that's it. That's it in terms of what I have to say about VeChain. I'm past my 30 minutes, but I'll go over a little bit, whatever questions you guys have. Elastos is the BTC of alts, therefore all alts would be below. See, that to me just makes no sense. Elastos is a good project, but why is it the BTC of alts? Do you think that Elastos is so much better than everything else? I mean, they have interesting technology, they're making headways, but that doesn't mean that everything else is go be worse. So yeah. Jackson Palmer, I respect him, but he also doesn't like Dogecoin, which makes me lose respect for him. So, I mean, it's his own baby. I know that he doesn't want people to concentrate on it and so forth, but why wouldn't you cater your own baby? You created it, right? Just don't talk nonsense about it. Don't talk shit about the own project that you created. Join the team again. I don't get that. I don't know how much bad blood there is between him and whoever is running Dogecoin right now. How big is Fidelity entering it? You mean entering crypto market? Well, I started this stream talking about Fidelity, and Fidelity is huge. Huge. It's almost as big as ICE is backed. Okay, almost as big, except they're not coming out with the Bitcoin futures based on Bitcoin, but they're doing everything else: custodial services, crypto exchange, and also advisory. And those are things that they're going to help large institutional investors get involved with. Okay, this is not retail investors. They're talking about customers with billions and trillions on hand, and this is a huge thing. So this again adds to fundamentals of the market getting better. It does. So it's like, hang in there, guys. I know I still get tweets or replies saying, all this good news, but the price is not moving. I know everyone's impatient. We sat around for 9 months now, but once it starts hitting, it's going to start going back up. And maybe it doesn't go up, it shoots up like 2017. Maybe it's a slow rise, and that's actually healthier for the market because then we won't have see a huge plummet like we did in 2018. So the fundamentals just keep getting better, guys. So you just gotta wait. Fidelity is not coming out with ETFs, mutual funds, and all that stuff. That's where they're still waiting. At least they haven't talked about it. But like BlackRock, which is the largest ETF provider, they're working with Coinbase, and Coinbase wants to come out with it. So we'll see. I mean, the financial instruments around Bitcoin is slow, right? We still have 9 ETFs pending, specifically one from CBOE. That one I do think will pass, and that should be. We should hear whether or not one of those gets passed. I don't know who the other 8 are, but I know one of them is the CBOE one. A-Game, I'm confused a little on VeChain transferring VeThor or keeping two. They're 2 separate coins, okay, A-Game. One is VET and one is VeThor. VET is used for staking. It's used for voting. VeThor is used for transactions. It's just like Neo and Gas. Just think about it that way. Same exact thing. Ethereum also is Ethereum and Gas, but they didn't change it to 2 tokens. I don't like Tezos. I don't like Tezos. And I can't say it's because of technical things. Tezos is very set up like a delegated proof of stake, just like EOS. They were supposed to be the first ones to come out their mainnet versus EOS, but they got delayed. A lot of management issues and all that. I know you guys heard that before, but supposedly their governance is extreme, and I'm not so sure I support a coin that actually has too much governance. Because I'm not so sure that the masses really know at times what they want or what's good for their project. I think there's a good balance between some centralization, like between a good leader, a good team, versus voting of the people. I think there should be a good balance of that. But when you have one too much on either side, then I think the project will sway, and I don't know. So that's kind of my overall thought about Tezos. Again, I don't know too much about the technology. I haven't looked into them, but I looked into the history, the whole thing about their foundation and all that stuff, and it's just a nightmare. If you like VeChain, how can then you say you don't like anything? Easiest spotted con in the game? What do you mean? Anything, any other coins or anything about VeChain I don't like? I'm a lightweight, just so you guys know. So I'm not gonna be out drinking anyone under the table. The Cardano Foundation, that's gone. That's not gonna be nearly as bad. So when Cardano was founded, I heard Charles talk about this. They wanted to avoid too much centralization of a central party, so they have 3 companies: the Cardano Foundation, IOHK, and Emergo, and 3 entities kind of controlling Cardano. And Emergo and IOHK wanted to throw out Cardano Foundation because they're just not doing a good job, and I guess they go do that. But that doesn't mean that the project go away or anything. So. 2030 is too far out, Weber. I can't predict what's going to happen, at least not prices. But in terms of technology, that's about 12 years from now. We're going to see, in my opinion, we're going to see almost everything move to a decentralized model, okay? And people won't realize it. Apps on mobile devices, web pages, all these services like Google Drive and even Box or Dropbox, I feel like a lot of these companies, they're going to switch to a decentralized setup and you don't even know about it. And there are limitations. Some of these enterprise things have limitations, so decentralization won't take over everything. I'll give you an example, and some of you guys might not know this, and I didn't know this either. So Like when working with governments, there are some regulations where if you're saying you're storing a government document, let's say you're in the US, there are some rules where you can't store that physically or digitally overseas, like on Canada or Mexico and stuff like that. There's rules like that. So in a decentralized setup, that wouldn't work because then you have nodes or yeah, nodes like everywhere else. So there are some restrictions like that wouldn't work in the real world, but for everything else, yeah, it'll work. So in 2030, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the services that we all use daily will be decentralized, and people won't even know about it. What do you think about Zencash and Horizon after the 51% attack? I don't know. I know they got attacked. It doesn't look good, right? Honestly, a lot of projects looks like they could be attacked. It's just people don't put any effort into it. But I'm mostly impressed because they got added on Pornhub without paying for it, which we've heard of Verge do that. I have a suspicion Tron also did that, but that never came out. So I was impressed that they got added there. But outside that, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's enough people using it. That's the thing. A lot of these coins, they're solid. Technology-wise, they're solid coins. They're solid. Their privacy features are good, or their staking is good, or their mining is good, or there's some asset to them, or they're ASIC resistant. There's some facet to them that's good, but if no one's using them, then they're never going to be mainstream. So that's the thing. I think Rubini has alternative motives. No one goes off on a tangent like that with so many dumb tweets without really trying to affect the market. And if he's trying to affect the market, it's because there's a reason for it. He gains nothing if Bitcoin and stuff goes down. So, you got to look at, how does he profit from this? Is he trying to short the market? Well, obviously he's not a fool, right? He should know that the market is already down. We set a bottom at 6,000. So are you trying to push us lower, or you're just trying to throw people off while you're accumulating for the future? We don't know. He also told people not to buy Bitcoin when it was at $50 back in 2013. And obviously that was a very poor choice. That could be Crypto Wizard. I just know that there's supposed to be 9, but I don't know if it's they're reviewing the 9 that was denied or there's new ones. I think it's new ones because the one from CBOE is still pending. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. That's it for today. I talked about a lot today. The market is doing a little bit better. Fidelity is a big deal. And we'll just have to see. We're right at the cusp of moving into bull country. We've been waiting for a long time, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And this whole thing about VeChain FUD, hopefully I answered your questions, right? There's a lot that Tyler said.